Good afternoon. Let's give the other stream just a second here to get caught up. Looks like it just started streaming there, so it should be live now on both platforms. We got about 1 minute until the market closes, so we'll be looking at the final numbers here on the day for the Qs and SPY and going over today's trades. Let's go ahead and get started. Good afternoon. This is Ifan from the Strategic Day Trader, and this is your market wrap for January 10th, 2022. Qs have recovered from the gap down and the sell-off, have now gone back to unchanged, even up a little bit. SPY still down a little bit, but let's just say unchanged there. And then IWM still the weakest, still down. Okay. We came into today bearish on the Qs and SPY. We were using Thursday's high as the line in the sand here, and remaining bearish coming into today. Now going into tomorrow, I do not have a new pivot yet to work with. Now we are going to be rallying into the declining 20 MA here. All right, that's the closing bell. So we will need to see either tomorrow or tomorrow morning, maybe tomorrow afternoon, what that pivot looks like. Now we did start things off with a decent sized green bar here on the rally back. Here it is on the Qs as well, and SPY. So it does increase the odds that the next sell setup will fail, but we'll deal with that when that happens. Okay, because we don't even have the sell setup yet, right? So I don't want to get too ahead of myself by anticipating the sell setup failure when we don't even know what the sell setup looks like. We don't have the sell setup yet. Okay, so what the sell setup will likely look like is, maybe tomorrow morning we gap up a little bit and then we come in, and then later into the morning we break underneath the opening range low. That would trigger a sell setup, and that would trigger a sell setup in a declining 20 MA here on the hourly. Let's take a look at the daily here. Daily, you can see, has kind of pulled back to support on the SPY, whereas the Qs have actually gone into a downtrend by taking out the previous bar's low. So Qs, a little bit of a break there of the daily uptrend. Weekly, gotten pretty sloppy there on the Qs and SPY. SPY, though, still looks okay, just looking like a breakout. No follow through so far. Okay, so gonna stick with this hourly downtrend until it fails, and then we'll see what the kind of weekly and dailies look like here, as they've definitely weakened a bit, especially the Qs here, not able to hold that support. Okay, so bearish going into tomorrow, but we'll see what the sell setup looks like. All right, let's go over the plays. I do the open in the room every Monday morning, and sometimes, Monday mornings often can feel like jumping into the deep end, just, to start things off. And it's because after a couple of days of not trading and not paying too much attention to the market, it's a little bit of a time to adjust and get back up to speed on things. And so this morning I felt like I was just too slow. I saw as soon as the CAH was starting to put in start the sell setup, I said, okay, CAH is starting to bounce here, because I did like the CAH gap, and see how it's kind of breaking that uptrend there. But I said, oh, there's nothing I can do. It's just a wide range red bar. I can't get in right after that. That's way too late. But now on the bounce, I can play it. And I don't know what I went off to look at. I think it was the BCRX, but then it triggered. It formed and triggered in the quickest way possible, right? Minimum is a couple higher lows. Really, we want 3, but that 2, I think that's good enough. Triggered, and then off it went. And so the CAH was a miss. All right. So, of course, that happened in the first 5 minutes. The next one was the BCRX. I was trying to get a read on the spread here on the BCRX, and then it just popped hard, and didn't really look back. There were some other areas of consolidation afterwards, but I felt like it was too late. So, I was pretty frustrated this morning. I just felt like I was being too slow. Can't really say that the market or the stocks are moving too fast, because the market's always right. The market just is. So it was obviously on my end. I was just being a little bit too slow. with the execution. So, sometimes that's the way it is. Monday morning, and I'm also, on the mic, also trying to call plays. Okay. So it wasn't all bad. I was definitely frustrated, but, I had been watching the skin. Skin was another gap that I really liked. You can see gapping underneath the 200, looking lower, breaking down on the weekly now. So I was looking at the skin. That was another thing. I looked at it a few times on the skin. Okay, so the skin right at the open, I said we can play this right here. But then it triggered only on the spread and popped hard. I said, okay, it's not ready yet. And then we watched again. Again, it triggered only on the spread and then popped back up. And then I said, okay, we're going to play it under 20 bucks. Hopefully the spread is tightened, which it did. It tightened up a little bit and kind of got some of that jumpiness under control. Okay, so we ended up playing it this way. About a 45-cent stop on the skin underneath the whole number there. And I said, as we were getting in this thing, sometimes we're going to be in a situation where, and it's probably to me the most frustrating aspect of trading, I already missed the CAH. I already missed the BCRX. When I was getting into the skin, those two things had already gone beyond 2 Rs. And so we got triggered in, and then it was negative. And then after getting triggered in, it was looking fine, and then it popped, right? And then at this point, we're down like quarter of an R or whatever, but we're still in it. And I said, if this doesn't work, that's fine. I like this play a lot. I like the gap. It's solid all around. I'm probably just going to feel like I got unlucky because the other two plays I passed on or was too slow. Or I didn't pass on. It was too slow for the other two. And then I'm going to end up taking a play that doesn't work, right? The discrepancy between that, even if I caught one of those, so let's say being up 2 Rs versus potentially being down an R, that 3 R variation feels like a lot. But, I just, basically talked myself through it, right, on the mic. I was like, what, this play may not work. A little bit unlucky, but I like the play overall. I'm not going to do anything with it. I'm not going to mess with it. I like the play, and so I'm going to try and stick with it. So I'm glad we did. Okay, I was looking for the whole number for targets. We did get there. First exit was around 1906. Okay, so that was good. Got in as it broke under $20, 45-cent stop, about 2 Rs on the first piece. Okay, and then we managed the runner. We ended up doing 3/4 of it, and then last piece we're in it till end of day. Last piece came out around 1830. So I'm pretty happy with the management here, and I know this about myself too. I'm gonna get frustrated, and I even said this morning I'm on the cusp of getting tilted. Because I've already let 2 plays, just kind of slip by from out from under me. Okay, but I know that it's not going to ultimately affect my decision making. Okay, and that's the important thing. If you're the type, and everybody has their limits, that you do need to say, okay, walk away, take a break, whatever, cool off, then that's fine. But if you're not that type, you also don't want to do that because you might miss plays, right? What if I had gotten frustrated? What if I had walked away and missed the entry on the skin, right? Say I come back to my desk and the skin looks like this. I'm gonna, all that cooling off I just did is gonna completely be reversed. Okay, so you have to know yourself. You have to know yourself. When I get frustrated, or at what extent of being frustrated, am I gonna start to make bad decisions? And I know for me, I generally am still gonna keep the play calls, the play ideas, the things that I do pretty close to my plan. Okay, but overall, I'm happy with the management. A little bit annoyed that that was too slow this morning, missed some good plays, but I think I'm pretty happy with the way that we managed this and the way that it played out. I think almost got to 4 Rs on the runner. Okay, so I think we did pretty good there. All right. So, pretty okay. I thought that today, as far as what was out there, I think this week will be a lot like last week, even though Friday is technically the start of earnings season. All right, so just expect that, things won't really kick off until next week. All right. And even then, I would say maybe even the week after, because once the banks got to get out of the way first, and often the banks are not that big a deal as far as their reports and how much volatility they create. Okay. All right, guys. Hope you had a good weekend and a good start to your week. I will talk to you tomorrow.